Here's what you need to know about fats and oils. Fats and oils are long strings or long chains of carbons. And there are really two types of fats or oils, and those are saturated fats and unsaturated fats. The unsaturated fats are the oils. Now, what determines the difference? It's really whether there's a double bond between any of the carbons or whether there's no double bonds. If there's no double bonds, the carbons form a long straight line, like you can see that in the first case of saturated fat. Those are really strong, structurally not wiggly fats, which is why they're solid at room temperature. You can think of butter or palm oil or coconut oil. Now, unsaturated fats have got a double bond, which changes their structure from being straight and unyielding to being more wiggly fats. And wiggly fats are liquid at room temperature. So here you can think of things like olive oil, sunflower oil, or other nut oils or seed oils. And then you get something called a transfat. And a transfat is really bad for you. And that is when a wiggly unsaturated fat is changed by a process in the factory or by heat to kind of wiggle in a different direction, if you will, and to try and make it hard again when it actually should be a soft or liquid oil rather than a hard or solid fat. And when it is restructured, it becomes really, really bad for health and increases our risk of heart disease. So those are obviously types of fat that we don't want to have. And these days, luckily, they are regulated by most countries and they are not really allowed to be included in food. Now, is unsaturated fat really bad for you? You may have heard the murmurings that it increases your risk of heart disease and that fat in general makes you fat. Both of those are untrue. Saturated fat does not increase your risk for heart disease, and fat in general does not make you fat, especially saturated fat. So those are myths. Now, saturated fat is often more healthy for you than unsaturated fats, especially if the unsaturated fat comes from a factory or is from a refined kind of seed or vegetable oil, such as sunflower oil, soybean oil, corn oil. Those are all bad for you. If you are going to go for an unsaturated fat, rather go for one of the fruit oils, such as olive oil or avocado oil. They will be better for you. And also choose an oil that is not heat treated, because when it's heat treated, it breaks and increases its chance of forming a bad, unhealthy trans fat. So if you're going to choose a wiggly unsaturated fat or an oil, choose the fatty fruit oils, olive or avo oils, or coconut oil. However, if it's naturally occurring in the food that you eat, plant foods that naturally have some fat, such as avos or olives or nuts or seeds, then that's also fine for you. If you are going to choose butter or real kind of coconut oil, then those are also really good for your health. Saturated fat from animal sources, such as that you find on your meat or in seafood, is also really good for you. So the moral of the story with fat is if you're getting it from a real whole food source, whether that's an animal source, such as meat, eggs, poultry, seafood, or whether it's from a plant source, such as whole nuts that you're eating or avos or olives, then that is fine and healthy for you. However, as soon as it has been factory produced, especially under heat, and especially when that oil is a seed or nut from a seed or nut, such as sunflower oil, especially under high heat, especially in a factory, then it is likely to be bad for you. I hope that makes sense. Then I would like to just quickly touch on cooking. If you're going to be cooking a fat or an oil, it is best to cook a saturated fat or an oil because it has less chance of breaking and turning into a trans fat. If you're going to be cooking an unsaturated oil, it is more chance of breaking and you will actually taste it starting to taste bad. Butter, unfortunately, has a low smoking point, so it burns quite easily. So it might be better for you to choose a sustainably produced palm oil, which is good for you, but it must be sustainably produced because they chop down forests to get it these days. And coconut oil is also a really good cooking choice. Thank you.